drinks coming.
You're muted, brother. We're live, but you are muted.
Wow, it didn't stop on the Mojo video. Hey, Drew, what's up? Are we good? I don't know if we're good or not because it's all messed up. Nope.
I mean, I think we're good.
Oh my God. Hold on. Let me see what's going on with my stuff. I can barely hear you.
Do we need to start this over?
No, we live, Hoss. We can't start nothing over. You know that. Oh my. We don't ever have no technicalities except when Swamp Rat's on. But for some reason, I'm having them. I think it's my phone. Hold on.
That's what they all say.
There we go. There we go. We good. I was trying to share it myself.
I swear this never happens.
Yeah, I was trying to share it myself, and yeah, see, I'm trying to share it myself, but it ain't acting right. I don't know. Look, y'all can find it on Bass and Brews. Let me get out of there so we can start this podcast. Drew, how you doing, Hoss?
Man, I'm doing all right. I'm a little tired. Had a long last 2 weeks, but I'm doing all right.
This man didn't have a long day. He had a long last 2 weeks.
It's been a long last 2 weeks.
Did
some saltwater tournaments, did some freshwater tournaments, skunked in both of them. So it's been a fucking long 2 weeks.
Bo, you didn't catch no saltwater fishes?
Nope, not at all.
This man is tired from 2 weeks of work, and y'all, if you know anything about this podcast, he agreed to come on tonight with me, impromptu. Oh, man. Well, look, y'all, Bass and Brews Live, y'all know how we do these lives. They're impromptu. We're going to have 1 to -8 people on here tonight. But as usual, this thing's going to hit the podcast platforms. It's going to hit the YouTubes. And it's still going to be a good time because tonight we got our buddy from the Paddler's Playbook, Drew. The man with the plan. The guy, the color commentary guy. The one who... So he is the Alex to Paddler's Playbook. He keeps his co-host, Chris, off the tangents and on track.
That's somewhat true. I mean... I can see a little bit of Chris and Alex too. I can see Chris being a little bit of Alex and me and you getting along well because Chris and Alex both seem like they can be like cantankerous like assholes. Like both of them seem like they could be that at times. So,
but yes, I agree with that. From a personality side, yeah, they cantankerous. But you keep the Paddler's Playbook on schedule.
I have to. Right, because nobody else will. There's not a single other person that will.
Right.
The scheduling part, I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
You keep them on schedule. And so the thing about this podcast though is Alex tried to keep me on schedule. I was like, nah, fuck you, dude. I do what I do, and that's talk to the brick wall. And we wrote. That's why the podcasts are now like 18 hours long, is because Alex fucking gave up. He threw his hands up, he gave up. He's like, you know what? I'll just make sure I have enough sleep.
I mean, a lot of that podcasts need to be this certain amount and this certain amount and this certain time. Man, I don't buy into some of that. I mean, if you're trying to, become some mainstream celebrity, let's talk about what's going on in the world of fashion. I mean, you may want to keep those podcasts down to 30, 40 minutes a day or 30 minutes a day or something like that. But if you have podcasts like ours where you're just talking to buddies, like you hardly ever just talk to a good friend or a good buddy for 20, 30 minutes. Like whenever you have a good conversation with them, you talk for a while. So If our podcast, the Paddler's Playbook's under an hour, then that means shit went really wrong. something happened, and it was not something good. Like somebody got sick, or it was just a horrible guest, or something. It's a episode at Christmas time. Like there's just something that didn't happen correctly.
You know, that happens every now and again. Every now and again, we had old boy Chris wins a kayak, and funny dude, awesome, but we had some technical ass difficulties that night, and it just we could not fix them, and so we had to cut that one short. But Chris wins a kayak. That's not his last name, but that's what his shit said on the podcast, so that's what the hell I call him now. And he spells his first name Kris, so I. Like Chris Christopherson or something. But anyway, We're going to have him back on because he's a funny dude. But yeah, I get it, you know. But on our podcast, when we got into the shotgun round, we said, all right, we're going to start the shotgun round. And first thing you says, oh, hell. Look, you bet Chris can't answer no question. He's going to answer a question. He's going to go. And sure enough, that shotgun round will last like 45 minutes.
Sometimes it does. But the shotgun round is my favorite One of my favorite parts of y'all's show.
So you listen to our show now?
I've been listening to y'all's show. since you guys brought me on your show, I've been listening.
There you go. I love it, man. I love it because you were one of the first, and I've said this on our podcast and, you know, shit like that. Y'all were one of the first ones I ran across when I started looking for mainly kayak fishing podcasts. Mm-hmm. The Paddler's Playbook came up, and y'all are down there in Southeast Texas. And you really on a freshwater podcast, though. You've had Jeff and Ryan from KBN on. You've had some, you know, freshwater guys on, but primarily y'all focus on that saltwater side.
Yeah, every once in a while we gotta throw y'all freshwater guys a bone. We've had on Jeff and Ryan and Drew Gregory, and we had on Chad Hoover. Let's see, that was a fun one. I got to ask him 3 questions in an hour and a half. That's it. He talked the rest of the time. 3 questions, hour and a half. He went off the rest of the time. I don't even think Chris got to talk during that episode.
Whoa. You telling me y'all went a whole hour and a half episode and Chris didn't interrupt somebody? That's his thing.
You can't interrupt Chad. He will not let you. It's not happening. He will act like you're not even talking if he's trying to get a point across.
So
let's see who else we've had on. Luther. I mean, Luther's kind of a freshwater guy. Luther from Yak Attack. He's been on the show a few times. We try to mix in Matt Scotch. I don't know if you know Matt Scotch. He's a hammer.
Him.
He's a hammer down here.
Bro, I don't know him. I know who he is though. And yeah, that dude catches fish everywhere he goes. He's one of the freshwater kayak guys in the tournament scene that turns it on.
He's a fishy dude. He is a fishy dude, and he helps me out a little bit with my freshwater endeavors, because that's been rough, man. That has been a rough transition.
It sounds like he did a real shitty job this past couple weeks.
Well, now nobody's helping me. So, like, my first tournament I did was the Northeast Texas Bass Championship, and I ended up getting like 10th out of 90 something people, and then nobody will help me no more. Like, you're all right. You got a top 10 finish. Like, you're all right. Figure it out, dude. Figure it out.
They were like, look, man, this saltwater guy showed up with horizontal rod storage. Y'all don't help him no more. He knows what he's doing.
Exactly. I had that Mariner Sales 4 rod horizontal rod holders there. Dude, I was getting it. I had all my rods with me, and I think I threw like 2 the whole time, no matter what.
Hey, you sure enough talk shit about that horizontal rod storage for episode after episode, and then you show up talking about at the beginning of this year fishing some freshwater stuff, and the first thing you went and got was horizontal rod storage.
I had to carry more rods. I mean, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and I don't want to retie, so I got everything tied on, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'll tell you this: summertime bass fishing is stupid. It is dumb. It is dumb. Especially when you don't have good electronics. Like, summertime bass fishing is stupid. It's like, let's go into the shallows and throw a frog and get frustrated because you're missing freaking fish on frogs on tournament day. And then you're throwing out there pulling in all kinds of weeds. And then, hey, let me throw a drop shot out there and get excited every time I get a little nibble from a crappie and I don't hook anything but a stump. Like, I mean, hey man, drop shot fishing is just you're giving away hooks and weights to the stumps that you're fishing in, or the structure. Right. Hey, let me give it away.
All right, so the traditional drop shot method had this little ass damn hook on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And guys now, if you watch, guys now are throwing a number 1 or 1/0 straight shank hook, usually the VMC. That's what most guys have. That's what I use. And they're rigging their plastics weedless, just like you would a Texas rig on that drop shot, for that main reason. So now you can fish it into some trees, you can fish it in some grass and stuff like that. But the biggest thing is you lose less worms, because with that drop shot, damn, bite every fish you catch, that lure's gone. It throws it off.
I would not know about catching fish on drop shot and losing lures. I can tell you those little hooks still hook into shit. I know that much.
Hey, well, that's the thing, man. Hey, today I went out with a buddy today, and I was throwing a gilly on a 1/0 offset on a drop shot, and I told him, I looked at it, it's like, man, this setup is not what the hell. This setup ain't good, because I'm using my medium rod, my regular drop shot shit, right? And I got this big old 1/0 offset hook, and I get 2 fish to bite it, and I get them, and I'm reeling them in. They come up and throw it, because I couldn't set the hook on it. I mean, it's that little hook, that thing goes in. You don't need a lot of pressure to get that to hook into that mouth.
I wouldn't know. I got a few little nibbles. And I'm still trying to figure it out, man. I don't know what I'm doing.
Hey, that's different for you Texas folks.
Dang, down there. Tori, so I guess I'm chopped meat here, so she wants to know where Alex is. Who's the other guy? No, where's Alex?
Well, this is the non-smoker co-host of Bass and Brews.
I don't even think I could do a voice like his either. Like, with the accent and when I looked up to see what he looked like, it does not match the voice. The voice and his face do not match. Sorry.
Well, I mean, you don't hear Alex and then look him up and expect to see a 4'1" dude at the end of the microphone, but that's what you get. So, real quick, Justin Faircloth, what's up, homie? Justin and me, he's a here local guy to me. Me and him fished the KBBB Praggets last year, and we almost beat Conant and the other damn guy up there in the Northeast. We almost did. Matter of fact, Justin lost the fish that would have won it, you asshole. But I still love him. Good angler. Tori, what's up, homie? We're gonna get Tori and her husband Ryan on, because they got he's got a real good YouTube channel. They're local as well, kind of back in the Charlotte area. We got Stephen Bell. Stephen Bell is also a local. Y'all can see people saw my Facebook and was like, let me get up on this here right now. But Tori's a big TikTok follower of ours, so we appreciate it. Alex, this is an impromptu. So for the 4 people watching, this is how we do the lives. This shit just shows up at 9:00 on a weekday, and it's out of nowhere. And so this is where we are. And we got Drew on, because out of the text messages I sent, he's the one that said, yeah, I'll come on. I got somebody texting me now, and let me text them back. But Drew, introduce yourself real quick for the people that might not know who you are.
Who I am. Let's see. I'll just start out with the podcast. Me and my co-host, Chris Lewis, we host a podcast called the Paddler's Playbook, which I know I listen to Bass and Brews all the time, and I know I've heard Robert mention it. I've heard people mention the show. We've been doing it about 3 years, and it's been an experience. It's been fun. This is only like my third time to be on someone else's podcast, though.
Well, tell us about that one time you went on a podcast and Chris didn't come on and he got mad at you.
He did. He got upset that I went on another podcast by myself because we're a team. So I need to. I got to make sure that I ask, but I know it's okay tonight because you were supposed to be on our podcast, Mr. Roberts, and you were not because we had to cancel recording today because Chris was taking his daughter out to dinner. So that's one of the reasons why I'm available.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons why I texted you. I was like, I know he has nothing going on. Nope. He's got semi-grown kids who have done all the yard work. And, and he's probably sitting in the air conditioner twiddling his thumbs just like I am because I had blocked out time to be on the Paddler's Playbook tonight. But here we are having a good time. And this is really, who knows where this will go, what we will talk about. But, yeah, here we are.
Hopefully, one of those times I was on a podcast is when I was on Dark Waters with Josh. Hopefully we don't get into those kind of conversations. That was an interesting and fun podcast. I miss hearing from Dark Waters.
Yeah, I wish he would start his shit back up, but I guess we need to start searching for jiu-jitsu podcasts to be able to listen to him.
Yeah, he's big into jiu-jitsu right now, which is fine, which is cool. It's good for him.
But he was I loved him more as an angler.
You liked him more as an angler rather than choking people out with the
No, we there's potential, but the likelihood of us talking about shoving lemons up redfish ass ain't gonna happen.
That would be a Chris thing. That's Chris and Josh.
Bo, when y'all did our podcast, y'all were gonna put it on yours, which you did. Y'all gave like 18 public service announcements, disclaimers, public service. This is 21 years, like all this shit. And I'm like, well, the worst part about that podcast, if you think about it, was Chris talking about pineapple rounds.
I'm aware, and the reason, okay, so there was good reasoning behind that. So we do like all our sponsorship stuff and all that. That all happens in February, and I think we did y'all's show right after. So we had just signed with Mariner Sales as our title sponsor. So I was just a little bit leery about, what they might think about the pineapple rounds and stuff like that. So I had to make the disclaimer because we just got a new title sponsor whenever we came on y'all's show.
Yeah, and y'all said that, but that's funny too because, I mean, we'll be real about it. And hold on, I got some people asking. We'll be real about it. Our podcast ain't for the weak of heart.
Oh, not at all.
No,
You ain't listening to Bass and Brews on the way to church on Sunday.
Well, you might be, but you damn sure ain't listening to that shit on no speaker.
You better be going to confessional.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. Hold on a sec. This man said go pack. This guy right here, he couldn't catch a football if you handed it to him. John Tucker, go somewhere else.
What has NC State done to say go pack?
Well, I don't know. They beat us last year, but I don't give a shit. Go to hell with him. How do you know who NC State is with Go Pack?
Okay, this is a weird thing. Like, I know off the top of my head, like, almost every college mascot. Like, it's weird. It's a blessing and a curse.
Speaking of weird, talk to us about you and your son's wrestling YouTube channel.
It's not weird. What's wrong with wrestling? Wrestling ain't weird.
Ain't nothing wrong with it, but every time that shit comes up, I'm like, man, I just don't understand Drew talking about wrestling when my love for you is for fishing.
Well, I mean, it's something that is mine and my son's thing between watching football together and watching wrestling together. Like that's our two main things. We go to like indie wrestling events here in town where like the dude just got off his shift at Popeyes and he's rushing in there with his apron, still got flour and shit on his arms. He's got to get to the back real quick to go change.
He's oiled up from all the grease
gosh.
from the fry cook.
I'm telling you, but those guys, because we go to like the big shows, we go to shows like it used to be a machine shop, and we go to shows at Toyota Center. Like we went to WrestleMania at Jerry's World this year. Like we go to it all. I will tell you, these local promotions, those dudes will freaking kill themselves for 25 people in the crowd. They will give you 1,000%. They will give you everything. They will put it all out there on the line for you. So I had my show going. Wrestling is our thing. My son was like, Dad, I want to do a podcast. And I said, okay, we'll do a podcast, but you got to be the host. You have to come up with how we're going to do the episodes, the flow of it. You got to come up with the name. You got to help me do the cover art. Like you got to get this going yourself, because it helps teach him a little bit of, workflow and organization. And he was talking to people trying to get guests on the show and things like that. So it really taught him a little bit just about conversation and different things like that. So I'm all about doing it, even if it's about wrestling, which a lot of people don't like wrestling. Oh, don't you know it's fake? Yeah, like fucking Iron Man is flying across the world too, like because that's real. But it's okay to like nobody comes up to you at the movie theater while you're getting your popcorn and they're like, "What's wrong with you? Don't you know that's fake?" Well, no shit, it's fake. We know it's fake. Like it's not like it's not fake, but it could still be entertaining.
Hey, what ain't fake is the guy getting off from Chili's, the fry cook getting off from Chili's and running up in the ring with flour still on his face.
Mm-hmm.
And them in their wrestling. I guarantee you the fakeness in that wrestling match ain't nothing what it is. Hold on one sec. We do have another addition. We got Jake the Horseman.
Does it show my display name?
Yeah, Jake just got done duking or something. I don't know.
Yeah, check your phone, Paul.
If you sent me a picture of a poop, the war is on. So Drew and Jake, do y'all know each other? Have y'all heard of each other before?
I have not. I'll be honest.
I've seen you before, but I can't say that I know you, sir.
Yeah. So Jake's a kayak angler up on the Susquehanna River up in PA. Drew is Paddler's Playbook. Y'all have a common denominator besides myself, and that would be Josh with Dark Waters. Jake was a Dark Waters regular on that one.
Man,
but Jake's a good angler, and he's a dumbass, so he's here with us tonight.
I did love going on some dark waters, man. We had some good times talking about yoga pants on there.
Y'all don't be hating on the Queen City guys for them yoga pants. Them dudes know how to fish and fight.
You know what? Look, Vinny makes them yoga pants look good. I'm not even gonna sit here and deny it.
Look, they average like 120 people per tournament at theirs, and that number might be a little high, might be a little low. I don't know exactly right now, but they average over 100 per tournament on their trails, and 108% people have yoga pants on.
Why? Well, what? Fill me in. That must be a PA thing.
No, dude, that's a Queen City thing. Hold on. Tori said too far. Tori could have liked us because I know she's in that area, but I don't know. But they show up with yoga pants in anywhere national term. They wear the hell out. I mean, I'll say first and foremost is sun protection, and y'all wear your sunscreen in sun protection.
So I mean, like I experienced it today because I was out on the river today with a couple people, including y'all know Gray Buck.
Mm-mm.
He's a professional angler, but he was out on the river today. I took him out on the river. And after putting that spray sunscreen or even the lotion sunscreen on your hairy legs, man, that gets just nasty. It just you end up getting fish guts in them and dirt. And in the Susquehanna, you could very well just have feces on your legs, stuck to your leg from.
So last Sunday, now I got all this GoPro footage, and I'm having a hell of a time getting the GoPro footage onto the computer, and I finally got that shit fixed. And now I'm having a hard time getting it into my software to edit it. But last Sunday I had fish shitting all over my legs. It was terrible. I was having to use my Crocs as scoops to get the damn water out. I mean, it's crazy. Here's where I mess up is I don't have no rub-on sunscreen. So I get in a kayak and it's 10 o'clock and the sun's beating down on me. I feel my legs frying. I'm like, shit, I got to put some sunscreen on my legs. And so all I got is a spray bottle. So I spray my legs down every time I stand up in my kayak. I'm over there about to fall my fat ass out of it because it's slippery as hell.
Yeah, that's not a good deal, man. You need to get
Drew,
that.
Yeah, oh yeah. Hey Drew, what's he talking about? Drew, crappy jigs for flounder and Matagorda.
Hold on, we'll get to that in a second. So wait, y'all are worried about the sun, so y'all are out there in fucking Lululemon. You guys know that, like, Columbia, like, Real Sportswear, like, there's manufacturers that make fishing pants that are made for males that have sun protection that, like, are fishing pants. Not
they got the pink tiger stripes on.
Lululemon. Like, they got pockets and everything. Like, you can put stuff in there. You don't have to do that. I don't get it. But hey, whatever you guys want to do. I mean, I would think we're down here in Texas. It's 120 freaking degrees, and my Columbia blood and guts pants are just fine. Like, they're nice and cool. They dry quickly. I'm trying to figure out why we gotta have some yoga pants. Maybe that just hasn't made its way down here yet.
I'll tell you this. Most of them have shorts on over the top of them.
And they're probably basketball shorts, right?
Yeah, they some kind of either that or running shorts.
What bugs me that this Facebook ad comes up all the time, and it may come up on y'all's. It's a Jackson kayak ad, and the dude's got on, like, he's got on the tights underneath, and then he's got on some bright ass fluorescent Under Armour basketball shorts in his kayak, and I'm like, that does not look like a fisherman that I've seen around my parts. I don't know. He must be from Pennsylvania. That must be a Pennsylvania fisherman. I don't get it.
That is not a Pennsylvania thing. There is way too much humidity up here to be wearing tights.
I don't. But the tights and yoga pants, is that not the same thing? Am I missing something?
The yoga pants that I'm talking about is a bait color. Z-Man makes a bait color called yoga pants.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about real yoga pants.
No.
I'm lost as shit.
I am too.
In that topic of conversation, Josh and I would talk about yoga pants as both the bait color and how we felt about when women would wear yoga pants. Paul, did you get that picture?
Oh, Lord. Y'all keep talking. Let me go search this dude's picture. Oh, my God.
I thought you were talking about guys wearing yoga pants fishing. I'm like, that's a new thing that I don't know about.
No, they do.
Yeah, down in Queen City, them boys do wear a lot of yoga pants down there. The Carolina sun must be different than the Pennsylvania and Texas sun. I don't know. SPF 100.
Look, Tori said, for the record, my husband wears shorts. She ain't letting his ass out fishing.
But she also told us about 5 minutes ago to shave our legs, and that's not manly either.
I have shaved my legs before up to the knees because when I was an athlete, back before I got fat,
you had to tape it all the time.
I would tape it, and I didn't get the same feel when they put what we called the skin on the pre-wrap.
Yeah.
I didn't get the same feel, especially when I got wet and sweaty. So I would shave my legs, but I also painted my fingernails with clear fingernail. Well, it was glow in the dark fingernail paint because my hands get all beat up. My fingernails get to cracking and shit, and that glow in the dark fingernail paint would help them cracking.
Interesting.
I shaved my arms because I had wrapped my wrist for baseball, but I played college baseball, so
okay. I thought
like,
you shaved your underarms.
It was every day. Shave your underarms. I still shave my underarms. You won't have that funk no more. That's where all your funk comes from. Your funk comes from the hair under your arms.
No,
you ain't got no hair under your arms. I'm telling you. You don't have any hair under your arms. There's no place for the bacteria to grow. You will not have funk.
Here's the other thing with funk under your arms. It takes a couple weeks, but if you quit wearing deodorant, after about a couple weeks, you quit stinking.
No, you just quit smelling yourself.
I call bullshit.
You quit smelling yourself.
Because I've been deployed to both Iraq and Afghanistan, and them dudes ain't never wore. No,
their whole life, right? Their whole life.
I'll tell you what. I hadn't used a deodorant yet that doesn't give me a rash under my arms. It takes a lot for me to wear deodorant. That's all I'm saying. And I don't stink because my wife for sure let me know.
Shave your armpits, man. I'm telling you.
I can't because I get the razor bumps up under there.
The smell grows from the hair. From the hair.
You took the invite. You didn't ask a single question. You just hopped on after I sent the link.
I thought we were going to talk about fishing.
Well, we are. Part of all of this started from us talking about fishing with sun protection.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. It took a turn, though. It definitely took a turn.
Y'all brought up yoga pants. I was just wondering what was going on up in the Northeast with yoga pants.
No,
we ain't on that yet.
Legitimately, my favorite color of any bait that Z-Man makes is yoga pants. It's basically
what color is it?
It's like black. It's like black with some black flake.
If you bend it, can you see through it a little easier?
You kind of can, yeah.
When you stretch it out, you see some ass.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I thought that with the yoga pants, when I think of yoga pants, what I'm thinking is this going to be some like pink and purple, white, pink and purple, white, what the hell, zebra stripes. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know who this is, but we're going to bring him on, but he ain't got no picture on, so I think I know who it is. Shaves, balls, and something else. I can't see all that in there.
Lord.
Shaft.
Oh, shaves, balls, and shaft. So this is Drunkwood. Our friend John makes a lot of wood king.
All I see is teeth. I can just see his teeth smiling. That's it. That's all I can see on my screen.
Goodness.
He's got some good teeth whitening toothpaste. That's all I can see.
I'll get a big fat pussy for you.
Is that a cat?
So I don't know why the hell he don't take his ass in there where we can see him. But John King, Drunkwood Inky on the Instagram. He makes the trophies, the plaques for MPFL. But he also makes a lot of other cool ass shit, all out of bourbon barrels.
The only reason I'm jumping off because y'all talking about shave stuff, and I'm completely shorn. So arms are shaved, legs are shaved, armpits shaved, chest is shaved, face is shaved. Got to be clean cut.
You didn't say your gooch though.
Oh, that's shaved. Here's my things. But would you rather eat off fine china or paper plates? Trim that shit.
See, this is what people who run. When you have somebody who exercises and runs for fun, this is what you get right here. I'm pretty sure the other three of us ain't exercising for no fun. Our exercise comes in fishing.
For fun? No. I don't exert physical energy for fun.
I just started working out again about 3 weeks ago.
How's that
Good
going?
for you.
Whew,
You're a lot better than Paul.
I've damn near died twice. We're doing boxing. I've got a bunch of bags in the garage, and boxing will take it out of you quickly, because it's full body movement and stuff. And I've got like a 50-year-old retired. Well, he's probably 55. I think he's 55. He's a retired LAPD officer, and then another guy that was in the Corps at A&M. But I mean, he's like 5'0" nothing. He's like 5'2", and he wants to hit everything as hard as he can, so he tires out really quickly. And I'm like, bro, that punching bag is not gonna hit you back. It is not coming back after you. Like, you do not have to hit it that hard. Like, I don't care how hard you can hit. Like, we're not gonna fight. Like, just chill out. But,
so what happens when you
I've
get in the
almost died
ring?
twice.
Are you winning or is he winning when y'all get in the ring together?
We ain't getting in the ring. We ain't, because, look, I'm going to be good for about 2 minutes fighting somebody, and if I ain't got him by then, I'm curling up, and I'm getting the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
You
Sorry,
got 2 minutes of fight. That's it.
The fat pussy about ate my hand, so.
Drunkwood, have you been fishing at all? I hadn't seen anything. Have you been doing any fishing?
Well, I just had knee surgery again, so I'm going to try to go fishing tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to try to go fishing.
Where are you going?
No.
Kentucky Lake?
No, that's like 3.5 hours. I'm going to Nolan Lake, which is about an hour and a half.
I'm excited to see if you catch anything because you ain't been fishing in forever. I mean, you're blaming your knee, but I've seen one man up there running the trolling motor with one leg. So I hope you get up there and do something.
Fuck you.
So Drew, we will get to some fishing. Drew jumped into the Southeast Texas Kayak Fishing League. It's the STKFL or something.
The Alphabet Crew. It's
the Alphabet
That's what
Crew.
they call themselves, the Alphabet Crew.
So he jumped into it this year. He's primarily Drunkwood left. He's like, they're talking about fishing. I'm out. But y'all definitely go check out Drunkwood. He makes some good ass shit for bars and stuff like that. It's awesome what he does, and check out the MPFL stuff he does. Drew, talk to us about your foray into some freshwater stuff, because Jake, just to give you some background, Drew's Southeast Texas, but he's a saltwater guy. Like,
Yeah,
he's been
y'all
doing
got some
saltwater.
y'all got good redfish down there,
Oh
don't you?
yes, they do.
Yeah, I mean the Texas red fishing is probably the best in the country. Louisiana's good. Louisiana, you can catch bigger redfish in their marsh because there's no barrier islands in a lot of the areas, so you get like big 30, 40-inch redfish a lot in really shallow water. So, I mean, you could be in a foot of water and have a 40-inch bull red come swimming by you.
That's on my bucket list, man. I got to go catch one of them fish.
Oh,
There you
redfish
go.
are great, man. We do redfish tournaments. That's what I mainly do is, the redfish tournaments. This year, the Galveston Redfish Series, me and my brother participate in that. But it's been difficult transitioning. Very difficult transitioning.
Time out. This is not Paddler's Playbook. This isn't the real internet. Tell us what was said. Give us the short version of your brother losing the big redfish in a tournament.
Oh, God damn. Jesus, dude.
And tell us what you said, because that post that you made, was it last week, I think, with the guy lost the catfish trying to net it. That shit.
Yeah. And then my brother posted this was me and him. Yep. Yep.
So,
all right, so just backstory. These redfish tournaments most of them are team tournaments, and it's 2 people, and all you do is you bring in 2 fish. 2 redfish. They got to be in between slot limit. Slot limit for Texas is 20 to 28 inches. An 8-pound fish is a very nice fish for the slot. A 9-pounder is huge. Like, that's a really big fish. So we carry a live well on the boat, or on the kayak. It's a big Plano box. It's got 2 lids. It's got recirculating pump. It keeps the redfish alive because in these tournaments, it's a 1/2 pound per fish bonus for live fish. So
Hey,
and a pound could be the difference between first and sixth place. Like there's usually that much difference between the two. Now, what were you going to ask?
That's money. No,
Oh,
go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead. That's something we'll cover next week. That's something. My question is something we'll cover next week. But go ahead.
Okay, so just to set that all up. So we get out there, and first of all, and I said this on our show, I can't say too much because he caught the fish that day. Like he was on the fish. He was out in front of me, and I'm like, hey, let's go over here to the left. He would get in front of me, and he was hammering their ass. So we get out there. It's about, I don't know, first cast like 6:07. 7:30 we get to the area that we really want to fish, and he hits a 7-pound 14-ounce, and we're like, hell yeah, that's how you start out the day. So he gets it, he measures it, it's in the slot, we weigh it, yeah, put it in the live well. So we're fishing a little bit more. I get broke off, which that was my day. I got broke off 3 times that day. And then I lost one. So I get broke off, and then I turn back, and he's fucking around in the live well. And I'm like, what are you doing? What's wrong with the fish? He's like, well, it's on its side. I'm going to take it out and revive it. And I said, okay. So he puts it on the fish grip. He puts it back in the water. He waves it around, gets it kicking again, takes it back, and puts it in the live well. And I'm like, all right, now leave that fucking fish alone. Like, don't mess with it. If he dies, he dies. Like, he'll be all right in there. Redfish are really hardy fish. Like, they'll stay alive in a live well for 6-7 hours, make it all the way to tournament. They'll be fine. So he puts it back in the live well. So this is twice that this fish has been put into our live well for the tournament, a nice 8-pounder. So I get to fishing some more. I get broke off again, and I'm like, motherfucker. I'm like, Jesus Christ, and I'm yelling at myself, and then behind me, all I hear is, God damn, son of a bitch, how the fuck did that happen? What the fuck? And I turn around, I'm like, what the fuck happened? And he's like, the fish! And I was like, what about the fish? He's like, I dropped it. And I'm like, what do you mean you dropped it? So I look back, he's still yelling. I'm ready to throw my full water bottle at him. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, I took the fish out to revive it again, and it kicked off the fish grips. And I'm like, well, it wasn't that fucking dead if it kicked off the fish grips. Why were you still fucking with this fish? He's like, I don't know, but this is stupid. This is dumb. And I'm like, yeah, it's dumb. That fish was in our live well twice, and it's still not going to make it to the weigh-in. Twice. So, but what really gets me is I'm like, all right, let's settle down. It's still early. Let's go find some more fish. So he catches a fish about an hour later, and at this point, I can't even look at him. Like he's 20 yards to my right, and we're drifting down this shoreline, and we're throwing, and he hooks the fish, and he's like, I'm hooked up, and I'm like, I don't even want to look, because if I watch him lose this fish right now, I'm gonna lose my damn mind. I don't even want to look, because usually I'm yelling at him, and I'm like, get it in the boat, hurry, get it in the boat, quit playing with it, get it in the boat.
Which obviously for your brother, getting it in the boat don't mean it's safe either.
Live, you can't even get the motherfucker in the live well and it be safe. So he gets it. He gets the fish in, and it's like it's a 7-pounder. And I get broke off like 15 minutes after that. So every time he's caught a fish, I've been getting broke off, and I don't know what it was. It was my braid. It was fluoro. It didn't matter. I was just getting broke off all day that day. But the crappiest part about it was, like, right in between those 2 times as well, Like, I had about a 6-pounder, and I was pissed off about that other fish, and I tried to boat flip him in and didn't grab my net or anything, just pulled it right out. So, then I turned into a fisherman samurai. I know you guys have done that before, too, where your rod becomes a damn samurai sword, and you start going, God damn it, and you start hitting the water and everything else. You start fencing. Like, that's what I was doing after I tried to boat flip that fish in. So I didn't bring in anything that day. He brought in a 7-pounder, and with that other fish, it would have put us within like 2 ounces of first place. Like, we would have won second place by 2 pounds in that last tournament. So it was rough. It was very
how
very,
much money?
very
How
rough.
much money are you guys paying out in those?
I think we didn't have that many sign up. First place was $1,500, and then
That's not bad.
Big Fish is another $600.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty good.
We got third place in the tournament before that, and we got second in Big Fish and third place in the tournament. We ended up taking home $1,000.
So you don't get penalized if the fish is dead.
I mean, so let me take that back. It's not a 0.5 pound incentive. If the fish is dead, you get a 0.5 pound deduction.
Okay.
So if you weigh in 2 live fish, it's the actual weight. You weigh in a live and a dead, it's a 0.5 pound deduction per fish. So if you weigh in 2 dead fish, you get a pound deduction. So even if that motherfucker was dead, we would have got second place. So, yep, that's what happened. But like I said, I can't be too mad at him because he caught the fish. I mean, if he wanted to let the motherfucker go, he could have. He can just throw it back. I mean, it's the one that he caught. He caught 2 of them that day.
But
so
the way that I hear this being country is that not only did y'all miss out on somewhere around $1,200, maybe $1,800 because y'all probably would have had big fish, y'all also potentially lost out on a damn big ass meal.
yeah.
True.
Yeah. I mean, we try to do catch and release as much as we can on those big tournament fish, because those are the spawners. If you check out the latest episode of the Paddler's Playbook, we had a representative from CCA that was on there, and he was also ran the hatchery program for redfish, trout, and flounder here in Texas. So he talks about the number of eggs that mature redfish can put out there. So we try to let go of the tournament fish as much as possible. But, if it's 20 to 23 inches, it's probably coming home. Like, but if it's above that, we're letting it swim off.
Yeah, but if that fish would have died, y'all would have had a good dinner the next day.
Oh, we still would. Yeah, we would have ate him.
Yeah,
It'd have been redfish on a half shell for sure.
Yeah, your brother fucked all kinds of shit up that day. What?
All kinds of stuff up. All kinds. But like I said, he caught the fish. He can do what he wanted to with it, I guess.
I have an idea.
I can just be mad.
I have an idea for redemption for you. You should invite your brother to come with you for your boxing workout, and then tell him that part of it is you guys got to spar, and then just think of that event that day.
Look, he's a little bit bigger than me, and he's been to jail. I don't want him to have any kind of flashbacks. I'm not going to get my ass beat in my own garage by my brother. Sorry.
And he's been to jail.
I may wait for him to turn around and kidney punch you or something. I may be able to get away with that. But
No, you don't think so, man. Not if he's been to jail.
Look, this man just said, my brother's been to jail. I ain't fucking with him.
I've never been able to punch him in the face, like, my whole life. I've never been able to. We used to fight. Like, he's thrown knives at me and a full clay pot. Like, he's picked up a pot and chunked it at me because
No wonder why he went to jail.
we would fight. Like,
Y'all can.
We would fight, but I don't think I've ever punched him in the face. Like, I punched him in the chest and in the side and slapped the hell out of him, but I don't think I've ever punched my brother in the face. I still don't think I could do it. I'd slap him, though. I'd slap the hell out of him, but I don't think I could punch him.
Well, if you didn't slap him that day, I don't think you ever going to truly slap him.
I was ready to throw a water bottle at him, I'll tell you that. It almost came flying.
You should have, because you could probably out-pedal him, too.
Oh, yeah, he ain't. Well, His compass is pretty fast. Like he can get it
Okay.
in that compass. He just can't get it for long.
Jake, could you imagine doing bass fishing tournaments in a kayak as a team and
I think
having
it would
to?
be fun.
I think, yeah, dude, it does sound fun. But could you imagine this scenario in a bass fishing world? And now it might be different with you and the Susky with those fish. I don't know how well they hold right after you catch them. But down here, you're pulling up fish potentially from 15 to 20 foot of water. And if you get them on a Carolina rig or something like that, you fight them and you get them up, you got a 4 or 5 pounder. But they struggling by the time you get them in there.
Yeah,
You know,
you guys got a FISM and shit, right?
not most of our fish are largemouth, so they aren't that deep. Fizzing is typically coming up with those guys in the north where they're
Yeah, like
catching
40,
30,
50
40 foot of water. Yeah.
So
We're not,
so let me touch on that. A lot of people don't know this about the Susquehanna. So the Susquehanna actually, in the stretch that I live, they do not allow any weigh-in tournaments. You are not allowed to live well a bass and take it to a weigh-in location inside the boundaries of the area where I live. The reason being is because there's so much disease and all that stuff that they don't want the fish to be moved around. And they also you don't want to do that in this kind of river system, because if you start moving them from individual pools, you might have one pool that's just full of fish and another pool that isn't,
yeah, bunch
So
of retreads and then no fish in the other ones.
Yeah, they've really done away with that here. There's like a couple tournaments per year that they issue a special permit for to do that, but you're not allowed to do any live well tournaments up here on the Susquehanna. I wish Pennsylvania would get wise to some of the things like Texas is doing with like slot limits and stuff like that for tournaments and that, because we have a healthy bass population. It's just not managed correctly. We could have some big fish if it was managed correctly. Like Texas manages the shit out of their bass program.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way Texas does it.
So
I
what
don't
you're
like
saying-
Texas heat, but
Well, we have
So what
so
you're
much.
s-
We have so much money going into it. I mean,
True.
just
True.
because the population itself of Texas and all the money that is going into Texas parks and wildlife, like there's a whole lot of money from license that's going into helping stock these bass and all the hatcheries.
right.
So we talked about this on the episode of Bass and Brews, the real episode, not this bullshit here, but the real episode that drops tomorrow. We have Mikey Balls on, and part of what we talked about was the Texas program, and then how they manage those fish, and how you think about, let's say, North Carolina, where I'm at, for instance, Jordan, Sharon Harris Falls, MLF made it famous, the TVA. You got some of these big lakes where they don't do that. Florida, and the point was Florida, how Texas has a share lunker and all this. Well, they're doing that because they have the money from licenses and from the tourism that comes to those lakes to drive that. And whereas these other places probably don't see that value, they don't have it. Our area here, do we have outsiders coming in to fish here? Yeah, we do. But it ain't like Texas. People are going to Texas because they can catch 12 and 13 pounders, right? People are going to Florida for the same reason. But those areas have to have that tourism, that money injected to the community from outside sources for them to, to put. I mean, look, what they're doing with that ain't cheap. I don't know how much it is. I don't know the specifics. I'm just going off of knowing how much it costs to manage fish and to raise fish. That shit ain't cheap. Yeah. And so for them to do that, it's a big tourism side of it for sure. But I mean,
see, no one's coming to Pennsylvania to bass fish, right? If they are, they're going to Lake Erie. And Lake Erie in and of itself is basically a smallmouth bass hatchery. Like you will go up there and catch an 18-inch 6-pound smallmouth and be like, this is just stupid, but they're full of gobies and shit like that. So that lake in and of itself is like a smallmouth hatchery, right? We don't have another body of water in our state that could hold a professional level tournament. You can't have one on the Susquehanna because
the boats can't run it.
Right. They don't have the right type of boats. Like, dude, I'll tell you right now, the Susquehanna is low right now. Like low. It's right now, it's right around in between 3 and 3.5 feet. And I had to drag my iTrek 11 today. Because it's low. Like, they imagine having a bass tournament on a Susquehanna, and there would be no lower units left. Every lower unit would be gone. It'd be like,
Yeah.
But yeah, there was this funny as shit. We were getting out of the water today, and there was a guy putting his he had just bought a boat, and like he came down and was checking out the ramp and was looking at it, and he's looking all around, and I was like, buddy, I was like, you been here before? And he's like, no, like 20 years ago. I'm like, all right, well, you're okay. You're gonna be okay back in that boat in here, but I wouldn't drive it very far. And he's like, whoa, what do you mean? I'm like, well, the river's pretty low, and you're operating a fiberglass boat. You're probably gonna hit some shit. He's like, oh, okay. And I stand there talking to my guys that I was with, and I was like, how much y'all want to bet he cracks that some bitch before we get loaded up and leave? Because, dude, I'm telling you, like, there's boulders everywhere. You can't see them. They'll be 2-3 foot under the water. But, you know, I was sitting there, and I'm like, I want to watch. I just want to stand here and watch this dude rip his motor off whenever he tries to get up on plane and go somewhere. Because you can't. Like, you'll have a deep pocket, and then it'll be 1 foot of water. It's weird. It's crazy. But
that's the kind of shit Drew and them deal with down there fishing in the bays that they fish, ain't it, Drew? Shallow as shit. Running.
They got the right kind of boat for it, though, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of shallow running boats. There's boats.
Yeah, they're on flat bottoms. They're flat bottom boats, right, Drew?
They run in 8 inches of water, like full running.
Up here, the guys that run the river up here in bass boats a lot of them run a tunnel hull jet boat.
Mm-hmm.
It has UHMW on the bottom of it. And the UHMW is like this real slick plastic type of material, but it's like that freaking thick. And, you know, you run up on a rock and it doesn't do no damage to your boat or anything like that. Like, it's slicker and shit. And then the jet drive is actually, so you have the bottom of your boat, the jet drive comes up into a tunnel, and then they can run in like inches of water, like inches. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's like a jet ski, except they're actually fishing and not being assholes.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, they're still being assholes because they don't have no option but to be an asshole, because there's only certain places on the river that they can run. So if they're coming up through an area and you're fishing it, and that's the only area they can get through, they're coming by you. Like, be aware they are coming by you.
So Drew, we'll get back to your tournament stuff, and I'll say this: last year was my first year tournament fishing out the kayak, and I started off terribly. And, you know, there's first year doing it, is fishing out kayaks different. You know, it was just tough, right? But towards the end of the year, I started doing better. So coming into this year, I was like, I have it dialed in. I know where the fish are. First couple of tournaments earlier in the year, I'm dialed in. I'm not catching a lot of fish. Our tournaments are on really tough days, but I caught good enough fish to win. I didn't win. That stupid shit got me knocked out. So, like, in my local trail that I'm fishing here, I have 0 points, and I fished like 4 tournaments. So, it's been a tough as fuck. Where are you sitting? Because you fished the first few and then got the redfish, and then you fished one a couple weeks ago. So, where are you at? Are you going to finish out the season?
In the redfish series or the other one?
Well, no, the bass, the freshwater shit.
So I went back and forth between two different ones.
Drew, look who just commented. Who were we talking about earlier?
I see. We were just talking about him. But I went back and forth between 2 tournament trails. I only fished 3 tournaments this year on the bass side. And one of them I'm sitting at 0 points, and the other one, whatever points I had for being 10th that one tournament. So
are you done? Well. Are you just focusing on the redfish from here on out?
Yeah, they had tournament here on my home lake, Lake Conroe. Yeah, so I fished that, and that's where I posted like bass fishing in the summer is stupid. Um, so we'll see how much more fishing I get done on the lake because we're sitting in 13th for team of the year with one tournament left in the redfish. I mean, we're not gonna win. We're not gonna win, but I want to be in the top 10. Like it'd be
so
nice
your
to be in
brother
the top
fucked up
10.
your AOI aspirations as well.
Oh yeah, we would have been. Well, it didn't matter because this last tournament we skunked. But if we would have got second in that tournament, we probably would have been. I know we would have been sitting top 5 before this past tournament, this past weekend. But it was very, very rough this past weekend. We saw a ton of fish, but we couldn't catch any of them.
I thought redfish were dumb. I thought they'd bite anything if you saw them.
They will when they're in enough water. When they get really, really shallow, they get super duper spooky. And it was a really bad combination where we were fishing. The fish were really shallow. And when I say really shallow, half of their back was out of the water. And they were belly crawling. So you could see their tail, you could see their whole back. And it's almost impossible to catch them when they're like that. Because they get so spooky. You get a line by them, or they feel the line anywhere close, they're gone. But it was also the water was like a 3-inch visibility, 2-inch visibility, like you couldn't see anything. So
see, that's what
it was
one
tough.
thing we're dealing with right now is we have that super shallow water, but it's also incredibly clear because we haven't had any rain. So right now you got smallmouth that are swimming around in a couple feet of water. And they can see everything forever. And dude, this BOS tournament's gonna be tough. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be tough.
So everybody listening, we got Jake Harshman on, which is probably the most interesting kayak angler in the world right now for that. So if y'all stay on long enough, there might be some spots given out later for where this tournament will not be won.
I'll give you all the spots where my buddies are fishing.
So this is real quick, because can you catch a redfish on a frog? Says Sam Dam the man.
You can catch a redfish on a shotgun shell. Like they'll eat whatever if you get it in front of them. I want to go back really quick. I'm gonna answer that, but Corey was asking about. He was talking about matching the hatch and throwing crappie jigs for flounder. Corey, right now, because I know he's from the Houston area, most of the smaller bait has already left the marsh. They're feeding on glass minnows right now. The bigger shrimp, the shrimp are big enough where they're starting to leave. The mud minnows are starting to leave. So I would actually start throwing a larger bait if you're going to be fishing in the marsh, because they're eating the glass minnows, but when they're hitting those glass minnows, it's hard to get them to eat anything else. I wouldn't throw anything smaller. If I'm going after crappie, if I'm going after flounder, I'm throwing the curly tail gulp every single time and twice on Sunday. But yeah, you can catch them on frogs. Like I use frogs a lot where I'm fishing. In lakes, in marshes and lakes that have a lot of grass, you can throw a lot of frogs and have success. The same stuff. So what was, I know you didn't ask this, but I'm gonna answer it. I'm gonna talk about it anyway. The hardest thing for me this year, going back and forth between bass and redfish, has been trying to figure out how the hell to fish offshore. Because in the areas I'm fishing, the deepest it's going to be is 3 foot. That's like in the middle of this marsh lake. And still, whenever you're throwing 3 foot, you're throwing little swim baits, or you're throwing a top water. Like you're throwing that all the time. I don't know what the hell to do in more than 6-7 foot of water, like away from the shore. I'm used to beating up the bank for fishing redfish. So pre-spawn, I did really well pre-spawn because all the fish were in, 7 foot or less of water. They were on points, like they're where redfish normally are in less water. But once the summer started going along, like if they weren't in the grass on the top water, I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Are you talking about bass fishing?
Yeah, I'm talking about bass fishing.
Hmm.
So it's hard for me to transition because I'm just used to beating up the bank, beating up points, beating up channels.
I don't know how the hell you didn't. I don't know how the hell you don't know how to bass fish when you got horizontal rod storage. I mean, apparently,
Hey, I had everything I needed.
I mean, you had a horizontal rod storage. You should have been able to catch every fish in the lake with that.
I know. I didn't
Do you have electronics?
I don't have good electronics, no, because there's no use for it whenever I'm fishing 3 foot of water all the time.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because
yeah,
most of the time when I go out on the Susquehanna, I don't even take my electronics.
Mm-hmm.
But even if you have just a 2D sonar, man, just find you something that sticks up off the bottom and stop and drop shot.
Yeah.
You're going to catch something. I mean, you might not catch a bass, but you're going to catch something. You keep finding each, drive or, cruise along, finding one of them spots, stop, drop shot. It's dumb and I hate it, but it works.
My advice, and I say this as my advice, this is what I do when I go to a new body of water or a body of water that I haven't fished. And if it's not a spawn event, if it's summertime, right? We're talking about summertime fishing. I look on a map, on a contour map, and I look for the biggest, most prominent points with some kind of flat area on it in the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Though the bat is and now it's typically community holes. Those are typically community holes, but they're community hole for a reason because there's fucking fish on them all the time.
Yeah.
So I look for those the most biggest prominent points on the lake that have some kind of flat on them before it drops off. There's going to be fish there. But you have to be able to know your electronics enough to start shallow and weave your way out looking, because the bass in the summertime, bass are going to be schooled up. They are. That's just what they do in the summertime. But you just got to scan. You got to look for those schools. You got to know where the thermocline is.
Top water I can throw over top of that.
Yeah, I mean, and it depends on where they are. If they're in 5 foot of water, you can probably catch them on top water or mid column stuff. Find those biggest, most prominent points. There are going to be fish there, and if you can scan and you can find those schools, and to me, the side scan, having a side scan, it doesn't have to be a great one. And knowing how to read it, you're gonna find those fish on those prominent points. They are there. They are there on every single lake, and usually you don't have to work to find them once you get there because that's where all the boats are going to be. But if you find the point, the little spot, the little stump, the little brush pile, something on there, if you scan, you'll find them. Then you just got to get them to bite. That's the tournament I'm coming up Saturday.
Paul,
I know where fish are going to be, but they got to be able to bite. And it's on the biggest fucking point in the lake.
Paul, meet the terrorist.
Drew, let me give you a little background, right? So Jake was on Bass Kayak and Beers with Armando. You know Armando.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all talked to Armando. And so I'm listening to this podcast on Monday or Tuesday, and he has Jake on because, like I said earlier, Jake is the most wanted man in kayak fishing right now because Susky's coming up for a Hobie. And he has him on, and he's talking about his dogs, and he talks about his other dog he has, and his dogs have an Instagram channel. But he talks about his new dog, and the words out of his mouth is, "This stupid dog will shit in front of the camera and bark at it until somebody comes and cleans it up." He goes, "You know what? The damn dog's a terrorist." And I fucking call this damn dog, this puppy, a terrorist.
Bro, it's not even just that. This dog, so I have a 4-year-old Irish Doodle, okay? The Irish Doodle is super cool. Most of the time, he's really relaxed. He only really gets excited when he sees a rabbit outside or a chipmunk or when you come home. Outside of that, all this damn dog wants to do is lay around and sleep. He's my favorite person in the world, right? Because that's all he wants to do. And then we get this new puppy, and this new puppy does every fucking thing that you could imagine to antagonize this dog, my older dog. And I swear to God, like Bruno, the older one, will get up to walk out and have a drink of water, and here comes a little terrorist right behind him, snipping and nipping at anything. He bit his penis one day. He bit a hold of his penis.
I hate when that happens.
It's like, this fucking dog is a goddamn terrorist. But he, for real, he'll shit in, like, he'll go right in front of the ring camera and shit, and then just look at you in the ring camera like, what you gonna do, motherfucker?
He
You
wants
gonna
you
come
to
clean
see
it?
it. He wants
You
you
can
to
come
see
clean
it.
this shit up? Like, fuck you, you stupid little terrorist.
Hey, we got some comments in here, and one is they ask you what happened to Dark Waters. We already talked about that, Sam. He's full-fledged jiu-jitsu right now. Steven, shh. Don't be talking about where we're going to be fishing Saturday. There's only about 5 kayaks that are going to be there, so shush. And Glenn Bracey was on here earlier. I know his ass going to be out there too. That big old beard of his out there farting around. Can't come talk to me when he sees me on the water. And yes, Tori, I'll be fishing on Harris, so y'all going to be there.
How much are you paying Tori for all these comments?
Look, Tori. So, all right, quick background. It all started in 1987.
This isn't going to be a quick story. I can tell by the way it's fucking starting.
No, so when Alex was gone, we had just his and I's Instagram and YouTube. Well, his YouTube, not mine. You need to go get another drink there, Drew. You can. So
Hold on. So do y'all have a joint Instagram now?
No. Well, yes.
So
Bass
which one
and Brew.
cheated? Which one of y'all cheated on the other one?
Well, no, this is the story. If you let me fucking tell it.
My bad. I'm gonna mute myself. Go ahead. So, somebody's got to interrupt your ass on the show. If Alex ain't gonna be here, I'll be the one to interrupt you.
Well, no, Alex doesn't interrupt shit. Alex will start talking. I'm like blah 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 blah, and make him shut up so I can talk. And
hold on, look at the comment from Chris Turner.
Where look at him.
He needs to rewind. Rewind, brother. Rewind.
Look, you about to start getting text messages. Why you on the podcast and I ain't?
No, it's going to be, why the fuck you got to tell motherfuckers I went to jail? Nobody's got to know that shit.
Wait, that's your brother?
Yeah, that's my brother. That's us, see? Look, there's us with the redfish in the corner right there.
Chris, he dimed you out, man. Snitches get stitches. I want you to know. I want you to remember that back from your time in jail, man.
At least I said I wouldn't mess with him.
Hey, no, Chris, he said he was going to whoop your ass.
Oh, God.
That's what I heard. Chris, this dude said, he goes, next time I see my brother, I'm going to punch him square in his jaw for losing that redfish.
That's
exactly what he said.
Right in the jaw.
So my story...
Go ahead.
My
Sorry,
story to answer your question about why Tori's commenting. So Alex left. Y'all could go back and listen to shit. We talk about it all the time. I had like a 3 or 4 month time period where he was on a boat on the Pacific, out in the Pacific, like on a cruise, having the time of his life in Fiji and shit. And I'm over here putting out a podcast a week, and so I start looking one day. I'm like, shit, we don't have a Bass and Brews Instagram, a Bass and Brews Facebook, a Bass and Brews TikTok. We don't have none of this shit. So I go and I get all the names for Bass and Brews. I'm like, we're fucking famous. People are going to steal this shit and want us to pay for it to have it. I mean, we were up to like 100 downloads and views an episode. And I'm like, we're famous. So I went and got all this shit. When he got back, I'm like, hey, because let me tell y'all something. I don't do shit for this podcast except schedule people and show up. That's all I do, and talk. He does everything else. So when he got back, I'm like, hey, here's all the logins for all the other shit that for Bass and Brews that I did. YouTube. I started Bass and Brews YouTube.
I mean,
and so he got active on TikTok, and Tori ended up being one of our biggest TikTok interactors. So that's how she got here putting all this stuff up here, because she's awesome. And her husband Ryan has a YouTube channel, and again, he's one of the few, I guess, that doesn't wear the yoga pants. And I can't think of the damn name YouTube channel right now, but
she makes him shave his legs.
Well, I know. Oh, he got soft legs. She don't want no stubble rubbing up against her legs at night when they trying to stay warm.
You know what? I hope they remember that shit in the wintertime and they practice what they preach.
How do you know what his legs feel like?
I don't know. I'm just guessing. I mean, has your wife not shaving her legs in the winter for like 2 weeks and you rub up against you, like, oh my God, what damn got Sasquatch in the bed beside me?
No, because I'll tell her, I'm like, hey, girl, you about to give me some freaking rug burn over here. Like, scoot on your side of the bed. And she takes care of that. Feel like sandpaper. Start calling you Sandy.
Oh, you be careful. That name right there might get you in trouble. Come home with some glitter on your face and be like, Sandy, you better get your legs right. Whoa.
She got mad at me the other day. I was sitting there watching TV after I'd been doing some stuff on the computer, and she goes, why in the hell do you have glitter on your face? And I was like, what are you talking about? And I went and looked in the mirror, and I had little green specks and little black specks. I'd been sitting here messing with a Z-Man, playing with it in my hand, and ended up with glitter because I was rubbing my beard, and I had a glitter all over my face.
I've actually watched that channel, Hook Sets with Ryan. I actually have watched that channel.
Yeah. So Tori's husband's YouTube is Hook Sets with Ryan. He puts out a lot of content from the Queen City, his tournaments he's fishing. It's a good time, and they put out stuff together where they go fishing together. It's pretty awesome.
Tori, tell him if he subscribes to me, I'll subscribe back.
Well, you've watched it and subscribe. What an asshole!
I mean, now you just got to make me look like a dick.
Well, you know, what did you say at one point? You said, you know, some people don't like me because I'm an asshole.
True, that's fact.
You've said that, so that's how it works. That's funny.
You know what? People don't always appreciate the truth, because sometimes it hurts their feelings.
People need to know the truth more often.
Yeah,
like, for real. Especially people that do like arts and crafts and post that shit on Facebook. Because I look at some of that stuff and I'm like, people are like, that is so cool. I need one. I'll pay for it. And I'm like, that's why your ass is broke, because you pay for garbage. Like, I'm all about helping people out and empowering people to do what they want to do. But some of y'all that make your own stuff, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, there's like a Jabberhammer. I'm going to send you, I don't want to call it, well, I don't, they're probably not listening. I'm going to send you a picture of a spoon that these guys are selling, and it is a legit business. And you just look at it and be like, oh my God. And this guy has a pro staff. That's all I'm going to say. Like
a soup spoon or a fishing spoon?
A fishing spoon. It looks like a fucking kindergartner, not even kindergartner, like a preschool science project.
Like a crack spoon.
Oh my God. Like, I just don't say nothing on those because I don't want to be negative, but God, like, be honest with people. Like, that cup you just epoxy looks like crap. Like, don't do any more of those anymore. Stop it.
Look, y'all, Alex probably ain't gonna listen to this, but he wants to start screen pitting t-shirts.
Hey, if he can do it and make it look good.
First of all, back to your point, how do you fuck up a spoon?
I'm sending it to you right now. I'm sending it to you right now. But anyways, like, I mean, and I make custom rods, and I'm sure there's some people that look at my stuff and they're like, oh, that's not that good. But it's better than some of that crap. Like,
Mike, what kind of bait molds are you making? That's trash. That's trash.
Right, and I hope the guy that does those, he's really nice. But I hope, like, I'm just gonna shut up.
All right, let me give you an example of how big of an asshole or what type of asshole I am.
Text that to Jake so he can really see it, Paul.
So I work at a veterans hospital as a police officer, right? And we had a group of maybe third or fourth grade kids that wrote a bunch of cards for the veterans on Veterans Day. and they were handing them out to all the veterans, and naturally, like, there was a bunch of them left over, and I picked up a stack of them, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm like, well, you need to learn how to fucking read. And I throw that one to the side. I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this? Like, is that a flag? Like, stupid ass kid, you're not going to pass 5th grade. Like, I'm going through all these things, and my coworker is sitting there looking at me like, what the fuck kind of animal are you? Like, these are kids. And I'm like, no. If someone doesn't tell these kids that they suck, they're going to think that that's acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Fix it.
It's the YouTube generation, man. They think everything is great and everything deserves, like, oh my God, that is so awesome. They deserve all this kind of stuff.
Hey, Sam Dam says he makes some baits. Sam Dam, he sent me some other stuff, but he sent me this one. This bitch is like 8 inches. It's huge. I've thrown it. I haven't caught anything on it yet, but I don't have the gear to throw this big ass bitch. I'll be throwing it on my rod. Oh Lord, Sirius thinks I'm talking to her.
That's a good looking bait though. Like, that's better than that spoon I sent you.
That 8 inches, I got a mold for that.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Look, we don't need any penis baits here, Billy Skinner.
I hope it don't look like that. You need to go see that doctor. You've been volunteering at that hospital, because you don't want it to look like that, brother. That's not a good thing.
Look, they make a peel. They make a peel for that, Jake.
You want it more to look like a super spook, not like that. Not like that.
Not the Super Spook Junior though.
No. Maybe a she-dog. It's not as pointy.
Mine's more like the Boyo, but, that's here nor there. It works. I got 2 kids. That's all I needed to do.
I got that Lucky Craft Sammy.
Oh, shit. This is downgraded a lot. Like, we went way downhill.
This conversation went...
We done talked about little kids' cards and the way somebody's dick looks. Like, we went way downhill.
Let me tell y'all a funny story. So I'm supposed to be on Paddler's Playbook tonight. That's why we're doing this live, because I got all excited and geared up and slept in late and did all this shit, because they over there on Midwestern time and we over here on the East Shore time.
Central time, not Midwest, Central.
That's same thing.
I know, but I don't want to be called Midwestern.
Hey, Bo, you out yonder ways. And anyway, so I'm texting Drew earlier today, and I'm messing with him. I was like, hey, Bo, the strip club has got 150 White Claws and all you can eat crab legs. And I got here at 3:00. And he goes, oh, okay, well, make sure you eat some bread and sober up. I'm like, whoa, no. They don't start serving the crab legs till 5, so I'll be good after that. And then I'm out fishing. Like, I'm just fucking with him. He don't know this yet, but he gets me good. I'm out fishing, and I get a text that says, hey, man, Chris is got to cancel tonight. I'm like, dude, I swear to God, I'm out fishing right now. I'm not at the strip club eating all you can eat crab legs. I was just kidding. I really thought these dudes were canceling because they thought I'd been drinking since damn 3:00, and we're like, hell no, ain't no way in hell we having that asshole on here tonight.
That would have absolutely been a 4-hour podcast episode.
I would have had to shut it down. Look, and speaking of the devil, there's Chris popping in. He's like, y'all talking about dicks, huh? Yep. We don't talk about dicks on our show. We just talk about pooping a lot. We talk about poop all the time. That's our thing.
Hey, Paul, send him that picture I sent you.
Oh, no, I will later.
Well, I think we've grossed out Tori, so she's not even typing sentences anymore. It's just emojis. She's like, I'm done. It's just emojis.
Woo! Chris Lewis said, speaking of shit, and I'm glad he can't send no pictures through this text message, this chat messaging.
Paul, you need to learn how to get that picture I sent you and make it big on the screen here.
But look, it is amazing that this podcast right now is actually live. So you know what? Don't ask too much of me here.
My apologies. Hey, so I have got to go here soon. Y'all want to talk about the BOS at all before I leave?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do a quick BOS thing because the people that don't listen to it aren't going to have the intel of where to fish. So go ahead.
I'm not going to tell anybody where to fish.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I promise you that. But what I will tell you is that if you're coming up here to Susquehanna, bring yourself some good wading shoes, some shit that's not going to have some, like some glass and shit that's not going to penetrate the bottoms of them because we're dirty. This is the Northeast, okay? Like there might be some needles in the water. That, where I like to fish, you might be cruising along the bank and see a crackhead giving another crackhead a BJ in the morning. That's just where we fish, right? So come up here prepared for that. Bring your protective gear. Mostly bring a good pair of shoes that you can wade in.
Get you a tetanus shot. Get you a hep C test.
Be up to date on all your vaccines, right?
Christ.
Except for whatever, but a tether, something that you can like pull your kayak with you because you're going to drag. Anybody that has a rotomolded plastic kayak is going to drag it this month at the BOS. I promise you that. There's not a time where you're not going to have to get out of your kayak. Like you are going to have to get out of your kayak and drag it. The water is that low.
If you have a motor, should you bring it or leave that shit at the house?
I would. You can't use it during the event, but I would not bring it because it's pointless at this point. You're looking at a lot of places where you're less than 1.5 feet of water. The Torpedo is basically you need about 1 foot to 1.5 feet depending on your boat. The Newport needs even more than that, and the trolling motors that go on the front need even more than that. So I don't understand anybody that brings a motor up here right now. It just doesn't make any sense to me. All you're going to do is tear up your equipment. Be ready for some tough fishing because low clear water really it'll group up these fish, and when they're grouped up in clear water, one of them sees something and they all scatter. So you're going to need to be stealthy. You're going to need to be, paying attention and looking, trying to see fish, because if they see you first, that's game over for you. But all that being said, the last 2 tournaments, one-day tournaments, have been won with 92 inches or better. So there's still good fish being caught. There's still big fish being caught. But people need to be prepared for that. This one's not going to be easy. This one's not going to be easy. It is going to be tough.
So what I'm hearing is find Jake Harshman and follow him around the whole tournament.
You find, I caught 82 inches of fish today. Proudly. So you can find me and roll with me in the middle of the 200-person pack.
Don't come out there in your Crocs. No Crocs.
Whoa.
If you do, put them in 4-wheel drive.
Don't be talking shit about no fucking Crocs.
He said good wading shoes. Crocs are not good wading shoes.
You put that strap on, and they ain't ever coming off.
No, but you're right. They ain't ever coming off, but you're going down. I promise.
You guys just don't fish in some nasty enough shit. You put your foot in some of this marsh mud down here, and you might lose your foot. Like you might pull it out, and it's gone at the ankle. I got everything that I have has to be tied on tight. The Astral Low Yaks are the way to go for me. If you're gonna buy some shoes to kayak in, the Astral Low Yaks are the way to go. You're gonna spend $100 low yaks. Yeah, you're gonna spend $100 on them, but they're gonna last for years, and they are great. They drain great. They got good grip on them. They're just like tennis shoes. Don't listen to you can't listen to nothing he says about footwear. Crocs are this fool wears Nike slides and like what are the shoes that you just slide on that has that little bitty piece of elastic that's like this big right by the ankle that you just slide your feet. Yeah, he wears Jesus shoes and like some damn white Walmart little tennis shoes on.
They're not Jesus shoes. They're Jerusalem cruisers.
Whatever they are. Don't listen to him because
I suggest no one take advice on footwear from Chris Turner Otherwise, you're going to be in some prison sandals. And
Pretty much. So,
Jake, it sounds like you need to get. It sounds like these shoes that Drew's talking about might be something you need to look at up there in the Susquehanna.
Yeah, I was actually. That's why I asked him to. I asked him to.
Astro Loyak. They are really, really good, and they hold it to the salt water as well.
Yeah, if they stand up to the mud, and the oyster beds down where he is, then they should be gold up there on the river.
Yeah,
the
only thing, the biggest thing we have to worry about here is the damn. You get all that silt build up on the rocks, and it gets slippery, like real slippery.
Oh,
you can bust your ass real quick up here.
Yep.
Well, Jake, we'll let you run because Drew and I are going to be wrapping this up here soon as well. You got anybody you want to shout out? Anything you want to shout out here? Y'all, I'll go ahead and shout this out. Kayak Bass and Beers with Armando on Paddle and Fin Network. Jake was just on there. Y'all go check that out. Armando is a past guest. Cool dude. Funny as hell.
Great, he's a real good dude.
Anything else you got there, Jakey?
Man, I don't know if anybody watching wants to click on the YouTube channel and give me a couple views. It puts a little tick mark in my bank account. That's $1 for Jake. I appreciate that if they do. And then all they got to do is just search my name, Jake Harshman, and then you can leave shitty comments and I let them stay up.
Well, who was the guest that you just had? You and Alex just had. That was talking about for every bad comment, it's worth 2 good comments because it keeps everything rolling.
Yeah, that was Paul. That was Paul from Burley Fishing.
That's who it was. Yeah,
Paul Glass from Burley Fishing. Yeah, y'all go check out the last episode that dropped a week ago, almost tomorrow. And he talks about, we do go into some of that because they've done a really good job on that. But he talks about we talk about the negative comments and the interaction and the engagement and how some of those negative comments, even though they might make you feel like shit and question your life, they are good for your social medias.
Good for the metrics, baby. Good for the metrics.
The whole thing with YouTube is you can dislike my video, you can like my video, you can leave a good positive comment, or you can leave a shitty comment. It's all just a tick mark to YouTube. They're like, oh, someone disliked it. Let's move this video up a peg.
People hate this guy. Put him number 1 in the search.
There you go.
Dude, I think the perfect example of that is there is a guy up here that I think it's called North Philly Fishing. I encourage you to search North Philly Fishing on YouTube and try to watch a full one of this dude's videos. And then whenever you can't get through it, I want you to go back and look and see how many subscribers he has. Like 250,000 subscribers. And he is probably the most horrific Russian accent, but he's Asian and he's like, hello YouTube, and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then he never catches fish, but he has like 250,000 subscribers. I don't get it, but I think every time someone dislikes his video, moves him right to the top of the list.
It's all about those clicks, baby.
It's all about
those clicks.
But anyway, I'm out. I appreciate y'all letting me come on. I'm going to get off of here because my wife told me that I would be on for how long? You said till midnight?
I said till 11. And you're kind of just...
Yeah, she said I'd be on till 11. So now I'm getting off at 10:46 just so I can prove her wrong.
Hey, well, your wife obviously listens to Bass and Brews because when you came on and probably said I'm going on Bass and Brews, she's like, well, fuck, it's going to be 4 o'clock in the morning.
I'm going to be on here forever.
What? Okay, so I was sitting on the couch falling asleep. We were both sitting on the couch falling asleep because I woke up this morning. Well, let me reverse. I'm going to be on here till 11. So
5 hours later.
Last night we're sitting at dinner and I showed her this hand, right? This hand, not this hand, but this hand. And I said, you're going to take me and facilitate a float trip tomorrow at 3:30 in the morning. All right, cool. So we woke up at 3:30 in the morning, and she drove me to the location, and she drove somebody else back to the other boat ramp, and then brought them back to the location, and she went home because of this, right? So we're both sitting here falling asleep on the couch because naturally we've been awake for a long time. And I told her I'm getting ready to go on Bass and Brews with Paul. And she's like, "Is that the one you were on 3 hours for last time?" I'm like, "Yep." She goes, "Fuck. We'll see you at midnight." And I'm like, no, not tonight. Not tonight. Because I'll be sitting here falling asleep on you guys too. And then you'll be like, listen to that dude snore.
Hey, look, Steve-O has been in the comments, but we got Steve-O from Hooks at Hoodlums. Not on ours, but some other podcasts. His ass has been over there asleep like this on his damn couch. But he's a mechanic that started his own shop. And so now he has to actually work. And so he's tired. Jake, thanks for coming on, buddy. I really appreciate it, especially late notice like this. Always great to talk to you, Hoss.
Yes,
Get
sir.
ready for Susky. I expect you to be number one. If you're not, the next time I'm up there, when we go out on the river, I'm going to push your ass off in the kayak.
Okay. I do carry a gun.
Me too.
All right. You push me in the Susquehanna River water, that's death. Like, that's attempted murder.
Hey, look. You see how Chris and Drew were talking about fighting?
Uh-huh.
I'll hit you in your face now. Come on now.
That's not fair. You got all that padding in front of your jaw.
Well, is that a fat joke? I don't like fat jokes now.
No, it was a beard joke. Never mind.
All right, brother. Have a good
We'll
one.
see you later,
Get some
guys.
sleep, buddy. Later.
Hey, bud.
And then
Woo!
number two.
Then there were the originals of debauchery.
The ones not bringing up dicks and yoga pants and whatever the else we were talking about there.
Look, we did not talk about pineapple rounds.
I never talked about pineapple rounds. That was you and Chris. I wasn't in on that one.
Chris opened the door and invited me in. I just walked in with my White Claws and a Slim Jim, and we're like, let's roll.
Oh God, that was a fun episode though. I enjoy coming on, and that's the thing. We'll talk about when you come on our show. Whenever people come on Bass and Brews, they seem to loosen up. A lot more cussing. They loosen up and things like that. That's why I like listening to y'all show. You get the way that guys talk around their buddies, not the way guys talk around their sponsors and stuff like that.
Well, thank you, and that's one of the things that. So that's what we want. And I told everybody that we invite when we ask them, we don't ever ask them if they listen to the podcast, usually until like we get into the green room before, a little bit after if you listen to the podcast. And a lot of people know, we've talked about this too, is how YouTubers, podcasters, a lot of those folks don't listen to fishing podcasts or watch fishing YouTube stuff, because they're in it, they do it, they kind of want that separation. But one of the things that we tell everybody is like, hey man, this is a podcast. We go through all the stuff, there's, it's an open forum. We have these few little rules, but it's just, we're sitting around a campfire, drinking a drink, whatever it is. We've had non-alcoholics, alcoholics, we have it everywhere in between. But we're sitting around a campfire, drinking a beverage, shooting the shit, talking fishing. That's what the podcast is.
Yep.
And that's what we want it to be. And so for you to say that, that's good that you see it, because we see it. Alex and I see as guests, as hosts, our guests, sometimes it might take them 2/3 or 3/4, or it might take them 5 minutes. But that's what we want, is for folks to kind of sit back, relax, and talk. And it's just shooting shit. That's what it comes down to.
Yep.
Because the guests we have on, that's the story people want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nobody comes on this podcast to listen to me and Alex. If that was the case, people would have quit listening a long ass time ago, because we talk every week. When we get a guest on, we want that guest to talk. We want them to tell their story. We want them to dive into the fun stuff that they have to share. And that's what we strive for. And it is loosening up.
I wouldn't sell yourself short, man. I think that there's a good majority of your listeners that tune in to listen to you and Alex, and you guys just happen to have a guest on. They enjoy the way that you guys do your interviews. They enjoy the interaction between you two. They feel like they have a connection with you two, and you just happen to have a guest on too. And I wholeheartedly believe that in most cases, especially in podcasts, like you have to, for the ones that I like to listen to, I feel like I know more about the hosts than I do anybody else. I want to learn about their guest, but I feel like I know the host, if that makes sense.
100%, because that's not to pat your back too much, but that's how y'all's are. And I listened to podcasts, especially y'all's, before I was ever even a guest on Bass and Brews. And I've told y'all this. I don't fucking saltwater fish. I go surf fish. The one time I go to the beach every year, I take a surf rod out there with 25-pound big game. I buy one of those steel leaders with 2 hooks on it. I buy me a 2 and 3 ounce triangle weight
and chunk it out there.
And I buy squid, and because squid's cheap and that shit lasts forever, I chunk that shit out there. And as I start catching other fish, I'll cut them up and have squid on one hook and the other. I'm just whatever the bites. But the point I'm getting to is I don't care about redfish. I don't fish for redfish. But I listen to y'all's damn podcast because y'all are funny as hell, man. And y'all's interactions, your banter back and forth is really good. Now, y'all do have great guests on too. And it's a wide, y'all don't just have saltwater guests on.
Yeah.
You cover the full spectrum. But it's similar. Y'all's interaction and what y'all talk about is always is fun, right? That's the whole thing about it. That shit's fun.
Yeah, see, look, my brother's giving you props. He said there's plenty of us that come here to listen to your goofy ass talk shit. I don't even fucking bass fish. I'm not here to learn anything. He just wants to hear you. And he's, look, I sent you the message. I sent you that video the other day when I went to his house I showed up at his house and he's listening to Bass and Brews, baby. So I said, y'all got one fan in Texas. I know that for sure.
Well, we got 2 because William Shaw listens to every episode because he has some dumbass shit to say. On every look, I make a post on my Facebook page, my Instagram, usually on Facebook. And he comes up with some dumbass shit that I love it. But we never would have had William or your brother Chris Turner as a listener if we would have never been able to talk to y'all and have y'all on. And so that's the thing about the podcast world and the fishing world is super small. Mm-hmm. And I honestly, this time last year, having had y'all on and then sitting here talking to you now, this time last year, 100%, if you'd have told me that this would be happening, I'd have been like, hell no. Got somebody, you got a creeper in the back.
I see him. Okay, bud, I'll be in there in a little bit. He's telling me he's going to sleep.
But that's how small this world really gets. Is you get into these people and it's super awesome. But y'all are open. I mean, we asked you to have you on, and y'all like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Oh well, we know how hard it is to get guests and have people on and things like that. Like it's difficult. Like so when somebody asks you to be on, like you try to get on for them. You wanna help them out.
Well, I mean, yeah, and y'all did. I mean, we saw a huge bump when y'all came on, but y'all promoted it too. That's the other thing with having folks that are on platforms, and our podcast is based off of content creators. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, the majority of our people create content on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, It's usually those three, and they understand it. First of all, they're good on camera,
Mm-hmm.
and they're good talking. So they usually are able to carry a conversation and have a good time. But then they also promote it on the other end. I think that's the biggest thing that's helped us as a podcast is the folks that we have on have been very willing to come on, talk, share their story, share information,
Cross promote.
you know, and then the cross promotion's been great.
I see B the Fish said, "Look at that beautiful bearded man." Is he talking about you or me? Which one's he talking about? Is he talking about both of us?
That is our great friend Bailey Eibert from Serious Angler. And I'm pretty sure he's talking about me, but he probably is talking about you a little bit too. But yours should be a little bit longer.
I can't do it any longer because I have to wear a mask at work all the time. And when it gets longer, it starts floofing out on this side. Just this side goes like this. It goes whoop, and it flips out from under my mask. So I keep it this. I know when it's time to trim my beard because this side starts flipping out underneath my mask. Because I work in healthcare, so I got to wear it at work 24/7.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that because you and my wife are the mean people. Mm-hmm. When people are hurt, you make them cry, but they don't understand it until they get better 6 weeks later, and they're like, "I love you."
Yeah, I mean, I haven't made anybody cry in a couple months though. I haven't had anybody cry.
My wife's 4'11", and she's the meanest physical therapist you will ever find, but her patients end up loving her at the end.
Yeah, they do. They end up appreciating you once they can walk. Like, it's amazing whenever you can get them from using the restroom on themselves to being able to walk out of the place. They have a lot of love for you after that.
No, that's right. But yeah, that's Bailey Be the Fish. Go check his stuff out. He's got great content on YouTube. Be the Fish. Go check out Serious Angler. They just had their 300th episode on Tuesday that is out now, and that shit was unbelievable. I only got to spend 29 minutes before I had to leave, but Drunkwood, who was the white teeth guy who was on here earlier, he was on there, and then they had a bunch of stuff. They had Alex Rudd. They had just all kinds of people on there. It's great, funny. Go check that out. Hey man, what do you have coming up, Drew, fishing wise? You know, through the summer. I'm guessing, do y'all start winding down in the fall for your redfish stuff? How does that work?
We do, but I don't know why we don't have more redfish tournaments in the fall, because the fall is the best time to be out there fishing for them. Huh. Like that's when they start schooling up. That's where the weather's a little bit nicer. I guess the weather's a little more unpredictable here in the fall. I mean, you could probably set a tournament, and there's... But
y'all have had some really shitty weather pretty much spring and summer, too, with wind and all kinds of stuff.
It's always windy, but we just got the first rain that we've had in about a month and a half today.
Holy shit.
It's been plus 100 degrees. This is... June and July have been the hottest on record for our area. But I have one more Galveston Redfish Series tournament coming up on the 9th, I think, August 9th. And then there's one more in September, but that's an hourly tournament. I got it. Well, it's on the 6th, sorry, August 6th. And then there's one coming up on September 3rd is the hourly tournament. So I may do that. We may do the hourly tournament.
Galveston Redfish Series, that's the GRS that y'all talk about.
Yeah,
that's the big.
That's GRS. That's the big one around here, because the Elite Kayak Series was also a big one. But they shut down their kayak division last year, and they're just kicking it back up for next year. But that's a money tournament. That's a $500 entry fee. Like that's a pretty high dollar.
Was that the series that was tied to the kayak company in Kentucky that all that shit went down and folded, or was that something else?
You talking about ACK?
Yeah.
No, that was Cats. That was the Cats tournaments.
Okay.
I helped run those tournaments on the saltwater side.
So how much are the GRS entries?
150, and then $150 per team, and then $50 redfish pot for the big fish, and then it's a $50 membership for the year.
But those are big payouts. I mean, you're talking about big fish, and first place is over a little bit over $2,000 if you were able to win both of those.
Yeah, depending on how many people sign up. The minimum was they're paying out $1,500 for first, no matter how many people signed up for the tournament.
Holy shit!
Because there's a boat tournament attached to it as well. That's pretty big. I mean, they've got a large boat tournament going, and I think it's $500 for the entry fee for those boat guys, or maybe it's $300 plus $50 for the big fish. But that's all. That's what I got going on. Just finishing out the GRS this year because we've already paid for the whole series. Doing that with my brother. It's nice to get out and do fishing with him, and kind of we didn't really stay in touch like the past 10 years. So the last 2 or 3 years we've gotten a lot closer from fishing more and more.
And so you touched on this. You make rods.
Mm-hmm.
Fishing rods, and your brother makes baits.
Yeah, he paints custom baits.
Yeah.
So his is G14. We use a lot of the G14 baits. He's only really been doing it for friends and family. You know, he's sold some. He also runs his own business, doing remodels and barn doors and that kind of thing. So he's pretty busy with that, but when he gets some free time, he'll go in there and paint some baits up, and we'll come. He filled my crankbait box up with some custom painted lures. That did me good in pre-spawn. I ain't done no good now.
I know you used to send me pictures of the shit he was making, and then I won some crankbaits from one of y'all's podcasts. I never saw them, so I hadn't even been able to fish them. Hey, Chris, do you hear that? Your brother did not send me the crankbaits that he promised me.
Did I promise you some crankbaits? I'll send them. I got them in the closet.
But y'all, they're boxed up, labeled, but they're in the closet just in case Drew needs them.
I mean, I have some custom Paddlers Playbook crankbaits in there. I send them.
But yeah, y'all go check them out because I mean, they are really, really good. And the ones you sent me were like purple. They were dark colored crankbaits.
Uh-huh.
And in the bass fishing world, we don't get a lot of those. You know, we get the reds, but in the bass fishing world, we don't get those dark purples, those blacks. You know, and that's some of the ones you sent me had those dark colors in it. So that could be a difference in a lot of y'all's folks that are crankbait areas and crankbait anglers. It could be a difference.
Different stuff, yeah. And then I have my rods, the Turner Rod Co. I do that a little bit more. I think last year I built, like 55 or 60 custom rods, which that was enough. I mean, that's like one a week. But I mean, how long
does it take you to take a blank and to make that rod? What's the time involved in that?
Total work on it, if you're not doing very elaborate wraps, total work on it is about 3 hours.
Holy shit.
But the thing is, you know, you get everything prepped, you get your grips reamed, you know, you got to ream them different sizes for different blanks, make sure they fit snug. Then you have to glue them. So you put the glue on there, and then you got to wait 24 hours. After you wait 24 hours with the glue and you let that set, then you can start your wrapping. Most of the wrapping only takes about an hour tops. If it's something elaborate, like a real elaborate design, like I've did one that it took 8 hours. So it was an 8-hour wrap. And then I've done, you know, some that they take an hour or two, depending on if you want some chevrons on there, or you want a dragon scale, or you want something like that. That takes a little bit longer. But if you're just doing straight, you know, 2 colors, you've got 2 colors on the buddy end, you know, you wrap your guides, you wrap your hook keeper and all that, it takes about an hour. But what takes the longest is when you put on your epoxy to cover the threads, you have to wait 24 hours between each coat, and most of the time you're putting on 3 to 4 coats.
Oh, it's that many. Damn.
Yeah. Well, you can get away with putting 2, but whenever you're building rods like me, and I'm putting my decals on there, and I'm putting the custom name decals, If you're wrapping over thread, so if you want a good background for the decal, you know, say you're doing a red and black, you want to lay down like black thread with red on the ends. That way you're not putting it on the blank and you can see through that graphite. So you have to put down your thread, then put a coat of epoxy on there, and then hope that the epoxy covers the thread enough to where it's nice and smooth with no imperfections, so you can put that decal on top of the epoxy and then put 2 more layers of epoxy on top of that. So, I mean, usually 3 or 4. I've gotten to the point where I'm usually putting 4 thin coats instead of trying to rush it and put 3 on there and putting them a lot thicker, because it makes it a lot more level.
And this is just you in there building
this
one
is just
rod
me,
at a time.
Me and my shop garage, just one rod at a time. But you can do some really nice stuff. I mean, you don't need a whole lot of equipment. You need a workbench, you need a wrapper of some sort, and you need a heat gun, and that's about it. Like,
and patience.
Patience, and you have to be very detailed on what you're doing.
Okay,
because you can mess some stuff up quickly.
Yeah, I will never make my own rod because I have 0 patience and I have 0 detail. Like, I was in construction and I loved framing and I loved hanging sheetrock, because if that sheetrock had a 1/2 inch gap in it, you know what? I could putty that. I could putty.
Just mud it, baby. Throw some mud in that sucker.
I could finish some sheetrock. You know, I could fix that stuff. Framing. Look, if it's off by a 1/2 inch right here, I know I'm going to catch it about 3 studs later, so we can fix that. But when it came to hanging trim and shit, hell, Bo, I hated that shit. I have no patience. I like to be detailed, but if that detail requires a lot of time, fuck it. I just need it to work. And you make saltwater and freshwater rods.
Mm-hmm.
So for all our folks, and we do have some folks here, Tori, for instance, they were just down saltwater fishing, and they were talking about going to, because we're North Carolina and the coast of North Carolina, which I think you have some connections over in this area or know some people in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. But, you know, we have a lot of people that, especially in this area, that they're 2 or 3 hours from the coast of North Carolina that has good redfish. They have flounder, which I think there's some shit going on with the flounder. But anyway, we have some good inshore, offshore. We have some good surf fishing out here too. Mm-hmm. You make rods that people can take saltwater on the inlet and fish for redfish, and then they can also use for freshwater, right?
Yeah, they can use it for either. There's not a whole lot of difference between, you know, a freshwater rod and a saltwater rod nowadays. All of your guides are going to be, you know, corrosive resistant. You know, they're corrosion resistant. Like, there's no real difference between a saltwater and freshwater rod, other than, you know, the application, the power action that you want for whatever type of fishing that you're going to do.
And this is the last question. I asked Drew this because I needed some information, some help. And I asked him about like a combo, a rod and reel combo for just getting into fishing.
A bulletproof one.
Yes. I need something that, you know, is going to get sprayed off with a garden hose at the end for people that they're just going to tie on some Berkeley bullshit or some dead shrimp or something like that. Just go out there and catch whatever bites. You know, it doesn't matter. It's just general saltwater fishing wherever you are. What was that advice you gave me? Because for folks that might want to go out there, for our North Carolina listeners and our South Carolina listeners, this is good information, because you're going to be able to buy this, and it's inexpensive, and it's something that you don't have to worry about taking apart after every time you fish and oiling and cleaning and that bullshit.
Yeah, if you're just gonna chunk some bait out there, and you're gonna fish spinning gear, then the Penn Spin Fisher, I don't think you can beat that. It's all sealed up. It's a little heavy, but I mean, you're just gonna chunk it out there and set it in a rod holder. I mean, it's not like you're gonna sit there and reel it in one after another. But the Spin Fisher is definitely the way to go in my opinion, you're going to get the most life out of it. You're not going to have to clean it very often. If a kid throws it down on the ground or drops it in the water, you can pull it right back out. Everything's sealed in there. Yeah, you're banging it on the rod holders and everything. You know, it'll be just fine. But if you're wanting something a little lighter and you're throwing spinning gear and stuff, I know you listen to the show, so you've heard me talk about the Pin Clash. That's my favorite spinning reel. The Pin Clash 1 and the Pin Clash 2. Both of them, those are my two favorites. Now casting, I've changed it up. You know, I've gone to all Abu Garcia lineup for my casting. They discontinued my favorite series, which was the ALF. They discontinued it, and they have a new series, the Xenon, that is replacing it. And I cannot wait to get my hands on the casting version of the Xenon.
What were you using before you switched to Abu?
I was using mainly spinning gear. So I was using Pin before and Abu Garcia before we started with the sponsorship with Pure Fishing. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to go with Pure Fishing as one of the sponsors for the podcast. And for those of you that don't know, Pure Fishing is Abu Garcia, Pin, Berkeley, Fenwick. But we mainly talk about Berkeley, Abu Garcia, and Pin on our show because that's the biggest thing in the saltwater area. But
and the Berkeley, y'all talk a lot about the Berkeley. It seems like that's y'all's go-to shit even before your sponsor time.
The Berkeley Gulp. I mean, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. But go ahead.
Oh no, I was going. Shout out the rest of your people, what you do, your podcast, all that good stuff. Tell them where you can find them. Tell them your sponsors, all the people you're associated with, and all that good stuff.
So now that we're not talking about like dicks and everything else, I guess I can talk about my sponsors because I always have to sign those little agreements where it's like I will represent the company and in good faith and with good morals and everything else. So,
with the exception of, and there's always, hey guys, we're gonna have to add this. We got some buddies that run Bass and Brews podcast.
Yeah.
Anything that's said on Bass and Brews podcast does not have anything to do with this contract.
When we go on that show, all bets are off. Like, we're just talking. But like I said, for the podcast itself, we're sponsored by Pure Fishing. Abu Garcia, Pin, Berkeley, Fenwick, Gray, Hardy, Spiderwire. I don't know if I started using Spiderwire back in the day when it was like really bad, bad dental floss with a really heavy coating.
Their new for days.
Yeah, but their new Ultracast, it's completely different. It is a completely different formula. The Spiderwire Ultracast, half of my reels have the Spiderwire Ultracast, and half of them have the Berkeley X9. And I have not noticed a difference between the performance of any of them. I actually stripped off all of my Suffix 832 for braid because that was my go-to braid, and the Spiderwire really does outperform the Suffix 832, and the X9 and the Spiderwire perform, just about the same. I like both of those.
And then being a saltwater, I'm guessing pretty much all you use is a braid.
Straight braid. Yeah, straight braid. For the bass this year, I've changed over to some fluoro and everything else. So,
because if y'all listen to their podcast and you listen to the intro, you'll hear Chris, the other Chris, his guest co-host, go, "Redfish are dumb."
They are. Well, they're hungry. We shouldn't say they're dumb. They're hungry and very.
But y'all say they are
aggressive.
Dumb a lot. Y'all out of all the podcasts that you will ever listen to in fishing podcasts, y'all's intro is probably number one. That shit, the outtakes that y'all have in there is, "This fool tried to kill me."
He did. He really did.
This fool used all my toilet paper.
Those are true stories too.
I know.
All that is true.
That is cool as shit.
Yeah, so Abu Garcia Pure Fishing, also Real Sportswear. They are a Texas company. I'm wearing a shirt right now from Real Sportswear. This is their fishing hoodie. It is awesome. It's like that, but it's between a performance fishing shirt and like a real heavy hoodie. Like, you know, when you go out on those days and in the morning you got to wear a hoodie, but then you take it off and you're still kind of chilly, and then you're hot as hell, and you got to rip it off. This one is for that middle area. So this is great, but they have a lot of performance shirts, pants. They have leggings for the ladies. They have fishing leggings for the ladies, and some of the guys in
What about the
Pennsylvania.
men?
I was going to say some of the men may
No,
want to
it's
check
Charlotte.
out these.
It's Charlotte.
Oh,
It's
in Charlotte. Okay.
Yeah.
Some of the guys may want to check these out.
I love how you dropped that too earlier about, look, guys, Real Fishing has actually pants for men.
They
that
do.
are really comfortable, and
Yeah.
you dropped that little tidbit in there, and I caught it. You're like, and that wasn't prompted. That wasn't that wasn't a plug or anything. I'm like, what the fuck? These motherfuckers are wearing yoga pants. Look, these guys done raided their wife's yoga pants drawer and out there fishing, and they bring them home and they got fish slime on them. And you know, being men, they take them bitches off, they put them in the sink, they rub them together, they dry them, fold them back up, put them in their damn wife's closet.
And then they're done with them.
Yeah.
And I really believe in the clothing at Real Sportswear. I actually was packing up for a trip on the Devil's River.
Oh my God, we didn't talk about that. Jeez,
Yeah.
y'all got to listen to the podcast. It's been like 2 months ago. You kind of reviewed that was
that was
I
fun.
want to do that.
But me and Jessica were packing up, and we both realized that every single piece of like the underwear didn't come from there, or the socks, but every other piece of clothing that we took on this trip was Real Sportswear. Like we have it, we use it, we wear it. Like, I really believe in Real Sportswear, and like I said, it's a local Texas company. Andrew runs it; he's a great guy. And then also Mariner Sales out of Dallas. So Mariner Sales is our title sponsor for the show this year. They have the largest inventory of kayaks around. Their warehouse is just massively full. Whenever you think you've seen it, like
stuff.
you go around the corner.
Yeah.
They are the American distributor for FPV power batteries, which are great lithium batteries, and anything Burley Pro. If Burley Pro makes it, Mariner Sales has it. They have it. The Bumper Pro, the Side Bro. Like, if you need something that is Burley Pro, hit up Mariner Sales, and they have it. And we actually have a section on the Mariner Sales webpage called the Bro Staff Favorites. If you just pick an item from there, put in the Bro Staff code, which is just Bro Staff, then you'll receive a discount there at Mariner Sales. They've been a great partner to work with. I really liked working with them because from the very start, we talked to them and we were like, what do you guys want us to push on the show? Like, what do you guys want us to talk about? Since you're investing in us, what do you guys want to get out of it? And Eris, the owner, was just like, I want you guys to get what you use. I want you to get what you want. I want you guys to talk about the stuff that you're actually excited about using, because your excitement will translate to your listeners. So once he said that, I was like, all right, this is going to be a great relationship, because from listening to the show, me and Chris don't fake the funk. Like, if we think something's crap, we'll tell you that it's crap. If we think something's good, we'll tell you that it's good. And it's because we've been using it for 15 freaking years.
And let me stop you there and let me give you a quick background, folks. Those that are still listening, all negative 8 of you. These two guys have been fishing out of a kayak for a long ass time. Like, when people think of kayak fishing in this area, they're thinking bass fishing kayaking, and they're thinking 2014, 2015. That's the time frame they have in their mind. Y'all, these guys from the Paddler's Playbook have been fishing out of kayaks since like the early 2000s.
Like 05, 06.
But back when Eminem was still talking about drowning his wife. These guys have been fishing out of kayaks since before bass fishing out of kayaks was even thought of.
Back then, if there was just 2 flush mounted rod holders behind you, that was the angler edition of that kayak, and that is not a joke. Like the ocean kayak started coming out with the angler edition, and it was with 2 flush mount rod holders and a cup holder in front of you. That was it.
No gear tracks.
Oh, no.
Gear tracks.
There was no gear tracks. There was no nothing. I made my first depth finder mount out of a piece of 3-inch flat aluminum that we bent in a vise to make sure it came up and went around right, so I could put like a Piranha Max on that damn thing back in 2005 on an ocean kayak scupper. I was trying to crappie fish out of that thing.
And all that for a depth finder that he used for after the second time. He's like, this shit sucks. I don't need it.
Pretty much.
Seriously, they've been fishing.
Pretty much.
And so we can't get into this because it's too fucking late. But the saltwater side of kayak fishing has been around long before bass fishing out of kayaks. Like, y'all are the true OGs of kayak fishing in the saltwater world, especially where you are. The other point what I was going to make was Drew and Chris have pretty much fished out of almost every fucking fishing kayak. The last, it's not even been, 15 years. The last 15 years, y'all, and Drew, if y'all want a good deal on a kayak, follow Drew, because he has one a month that he's putting up for sale this stock.
I haven't sold any for a while. And for a while, I mean, it's been like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
I'm not
all of them.
I'm not letting go of the ones I got now, though.
Yeah.
I really like the Predator. I mean, the Predator, the Sportsman PDL. Like, I really like the Big Water. I've really enjoyed fishing out of that. And then the Autopilot 136, both of those.
But this is the thing. Their previous podcasts, if you go back to when they started, and you're looking for tips and tricks, you're looking for kayak stuff, and a lot of the kayaks have changed over the last 5 years, especially. But still, they have a lot of good content if you go look at their stuff, because they didn't get into one and demo it and pedal it around or paddle it around. Like, these are guys that have been in those kayaks and have fished the shit out of them.
Yeah, we buy them and go fish for a few months and then sell them.
They're buying them. They're going out and fishing, and they're fishing saltwater too. So it ain't like, people get out here on these lakes and these kayaks and I'm like, oh my God, there's 1.5 footers and it's white capping, and it's about, these guys have been out there in like 3-foot breakers and fishing. So the shit that they say, they really are truthful about what they say and the stuff that they go through. But I love the Mariner Sales shit. I had it in my mind and I got fucking rambling. I was talking about it. It doesn't matter anyway, regardless.
Oh, when we did the announcements about Mariner Sales?
No.
Or the Mariner Sales commercials that Saltside Jess does?
Speaking of Saltside Jess, if anybody on here needs the greatest voice in podcasting to do commercials, Saltside Jess. Listen to their podcast and just listen to Saltside Jess do their commercials. Hire her, because
I'll be her agent. Like, get a hold of me. We'll work this out. We'll get her reading some of your material for you.
Yeah, she's good at that.
Yep, but Mariner Sales is the new one. The only other one that I haven't mentioned is me and Chris are both now a part of Team Yak Attack officially. We're officially on the Yak Attack national team.
That just happened.
Yeah, that just happened a few months ago. We've had Luther on the show a few times. We talked to him back and forth, text. Like, I have his number in my phone, and he sent us some new black packs and everything. And we were like, Luther, why don't we make this official? Like, why don't you just put us on the actual Yak Attack team? Because all we use is Yak Attack gear anyway. And he's like, that's fine. Sure. Here's the number. Get with this guy. Let's get you guys on the national team, because we already use almost exclusively Yak Attack gear anyway. And he's a good friend of the show. Like he's been on a few times, and we text back and forth and stuff like that. So it's great to represent a company like Yak Attack.
And again, guys, this is coming from two folks that have been in the kayak game where they were building their own shit.
There was no accessories.
Yeah.
There was nothing. You built your own accessories, buddy.
Like they understand. Oh shit. My studio. Oh, it's the Welcome to the Mariner Sales studio.
Welcome to the Mariner Sales studio.
Yeah. But sorry,
ladies and gentlemen of podcast land.
See, look, man, and you think they have that recorded and just post it? No, that shit is live. All right, Drew, thank you. This was awesome, man. I appreciate you coming on as always. This is great. Look, guys, next week, hopefully, fingers crossed, for the second time, we're gonna record.
Oh, it's got to happen before Tuesday. Tuesdays when we drop new episodes. We do it every 2 weeks on Tuesday. So we got to record on Monday. By Monday, we got to record something. So hey, we'll see how that goes.
I'm there. Every 2 weeks, y'all give them some shit because they need to record every week. This is a great podcast. Drew, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Too much. Too
much. Hey, y'all go follow these folks. Check them out. Thank y'all for listening. This has been a short episode of Bass and Brews at 2 hours and 15 minutes, but it was filled with the randomness, the debauchery, and the fun. And this is your weekly distraction from high-quality podcast content. Y'all go check out Hooks at Hoodlums. They're good partners of ours. I love them to death. Wild Bill. He can't fish for shit, but, I love him. He's a good guy. We'll holler at you, Drew. Hang on. Hey-oh.
Hey!